Home Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With your permission, I will make a statement about the murder of Henry Nowak. Last December, Henry, aged just 18, was a first-year university student with his life ahead of him. He was kind, hard-working, loved by his family and friends. His murder at the hands of Vikram Digwa was a horrifying act. Digwa murdered Henry and then lied about him as he lay dying, falsely accusing him of racism. It was an evil act. I know the thoughts of the whole House will now be with Henry's family and his friends, just as mine are. What they have been through is heartbreaking, for most of us, unimaginable. I know nothing can take their pain and loss away. But yesterday, we saw some measure of justice. Digwa was sentenced to life imprisonment. He will serve a minimum term of 21 years. His mother, Kiran Kaur, has been convicted of assisting an offender. She is due to be sentenced on 17th of July. And today, the Crown Prosecution Service has authorised further charges against other members of the attacker's family. With further sentencing and possible charges pending, we must be cautious still in what we say about this case, so that we do not place any proceedings at risk. However, I can and must pay tribute today to the dignified and powerful words of the Nowak family in the statement they gave after yesterday's sentencing. They deserve answers. They deserve answers in particular about what happened on that awful night and the actions of the police officers who arrived on the scene. I expect many in this House and many more across this country have now seen the police officers' body cam footage released last night. It is, without question, a disturbing and tragic thing to see. People are rightly asking questions about how the situation was handled, and they are shocked and disquieted to hear Henry's words, "I can't breathe." I know that it is difficult to wait any longer for answers, but there is a proper process to assess whether there have been incidents of police misconduct, led by the Independent Office for Police Conduct, the IOPC. They will determine what could and should have been done differently. They will determine what action may need to be taken against individual officers. The family yesterday called on me, and I quote, to ensure the IOPC has the resources, authority and independence it needs to conduct a full, fearless and transparent investigation. Mr. Speaker, I can confirm to you today that I will do so. The IOPC will be equipped and encouraged to act to find the truth and to ensure, if necessary, that there are consequences. There have been accusations, I know, of two-tier policing, that one community has been prioritised over another. It will be for the IOPC to determine the facts with regard to this specific case, and I cannot and will not comment on them.
The Shadow Home Secretary just read a specific document into the Parliamentary record. The document is called the Police Anti-Racism Commitment. It was published in March 2025 by the National Police Chiefs Council and the College of Policing, the two bodies responsible for setting national policing standards in England and Wales. He said it urges police forces to, and this is a direct quote from the document, reverse engineer the same arrest rates between ethnic groups, even though the offending rates are different, by treating different ethnic groups differently. He then said, an official police document actually says people should be treated differently based on the colour of their skin. The Home Secretary's response was that the police must always act without fear or favour. She did not say the document should be withdrawn.
Shadow Home Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Home Secretary and thank you, Mr. Speaker, for ensuring the government came to the House today. The murder of Henry Nowak is devastating for his family. He was an innocent young man on the way home when he was brutally killed. Henry's family have suffered an unimaginable loss, and I know the thoughts of the whole House will be with them all. The evil murderer, Vikram Digwa, lied from start to finish, including a false allegation of racism. But on arriving at the scene, the police appeared more concerned with the accusation of racism and even the possibility that Digwa himself was injured than they were in helping Henry. Henry told the police he could not breathe 9 times. He told them he had been stabbed 4 times. The response from the officer, we've all heard, was to say, "I don't think you have, mate." Henry was handcuffed and dragged across the ground as he lay dying. Can you imagine what he must have felt as he cried out for help and was ignored, as the officers who should have worked to save him instead handcuffed him and inquired after the welfare of his killer, standing just inches away? But, Mr. Speaker, this has not happened by accident. It is enshrined in the police's own policy documents. The Police Anti-Racism Commitment, published in March 2025 by the NPCC and the College of Policing, urges police forces to reverse engineer the same arrest rates between ethnic groups, even though the offending rates are different, by treating different ethnic groups differently. Let that sink in for a moment. An official police document actually says people should be treated differently based on the colour of their skin. I've said before at this dispatch box at least twice that document should be withdrawn. The dangerous ideology of so-called anti-racism, allowing people to be treated differently based on race, must end. Extreme activists have hijacked the policy-making process, and this is where it has led. It has no place in policing, it has no place anywhere. So does the Home Secretary agree that the so-called police anti-racism commitment must urgently be withdrawn? It is morally wrong and it is dangerous as well.
The Home Secretary made 2 specific commitments to Parliament today. First, the IOPC will have the resources, authority and independence it needs to conduct a full, fearless and transparent investigation into what happened on the night Henry Nowak died. Second, the IOPC intends to report within the next 3 months. The IOPC, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, is the body responsible for overseeing police complaints in England and Wales. It operates independently of both the police and the government. Its investigation will examine 2 things specifically: the conduct of the individual officers on the night, and the wider lessons that should be drawn from the case. Henry's constituency MP asked the Home Secretary one direct question: will the family know why their son was treated as a criminal while the criminal was treated with dignity? The Home Secretary said yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to pay tribute to my constituent Henry Nowak, a bright young man at the start of a life that held so much promise. The turnout at his funeral and the outpouring of community support show that he had an impact well beyond his young years. I'd like to pay tribute to his family, Mark Nowak particularly, his father. Many here have quoted his words, calling that Henry's death does not lead to more division and hatred. His sister Olivia made space in the early days of her own grief to support Henry's friends. I think that speaks to this family and their courage and their bravery and their dignity in dealing with one of the most tragic and devastating things that any of us could ever imagine going through. Like many in this house, I've watched the body-worn video camera footage that was released last night, and I watched it with horror. I cannot imagine what Henry's family felt seeing that and knowing that that was their son's last moments. They expected help from the police, but when Henry lay dying, what he got was accusation and he was disbelieved. This can never happen again. I would like to ask the Home Secretary what she will do to meet Henry's family's calls. First of all, to tackle the national emergency that is knife crime. Like many families who have suffered a loss from this appalling crime, Henry's family have called that his death has not been in vain, that lessons are learned, and that they can go forward to see that his legacy is that no one else has to suffer that grief. And secondly, I would welcome the Home Secretary's assurances that the IOPC investigation will be thorough, will be fully resourced, that no stone will be left unturned, that the family will have the answers they need and deserve. They will know why their son was treated as a criminal and why the criminal was treated with much more dignity than their son was. And I would be grateful if she would speak to make sure that the family's needs, their wishes, and that their voices are heard throughout this inquiry.
Parliament asked the Home Secretary 4 specific questions today that have not yet been answered. 1. Will the police anti-racism commitment document be withdrawn? 2. Have the officers involved been suspended pending the investigation? 3. What changes will be made to how officers are trained to respond to false allegations made at crime scenes? 4. Will the IOPC findings be shared with all police forces across the country, not just Hampshire Constabulary? The Home Secretary answered questions 1 and 2 by referring the matter to the IOPC investigation. Questions 3 and 4 were acknowledged but not answered directly. Parliament will return to all 4 when the IOPC reports. So here is where this stands after today's statement. Henry Nowak was murdered. His killer has been sentenced to life imprisonment. The body cam footage has been seen by the country. An official police document urging officers to treat different ethnic groups differently has been read into the parliamentary record. The Home Secretary did not commit to withdrawing it. The IOPC investigation will report within 3 months. Henry Nowak's family asked one thing of every political leader in this country. Do not use his death to create further division. Parliament heard that today. What it does with it is a matter of public record. This is the public record. New analysis every week, what Parliament says, and what the numbers actually show. Subscribe if you want the full picture.